Morning, everyone. I'm Greg Faranello, head of U.S. rates for Amerivet Securities, and welcome to Monday Minutes. Brief look back to last week, two key events. Chairman Powell on the tape once again saying no to negative interest rates. In addition to that, saying that he thought quantitative easing alongside forward guidance were no longer non-standard tools that the Fed has to use going forward. President Trump comments coming toward China. Obviously, the tension between China, the United States, China, Hong Kong, the United States, Hong Kong. This is a theme that we've been discussing with clients. We think it's a critical theme here going forward in the months ahead and unlikely to get any better. If anything, the potential to get a little bit worse. Turning now to the United States, devastation over the weekend, peaceful protests over the tragic death of George Floyd, turning very violent across the country, which seems to be like a very coordinated effort here to really hit the United States economically at a very critical time coming out of coronavirus. We think clearly short term this has the potential to impact small businesses. Chairman Powell said last week, clearly 40% of income earners under $40,000 right now are unemployed. This week, in terms of Fed operations, we are going to get $22 billion out of the Fed as of Friday's schedule. If you look at today, PMIs, which by the time this video airs, we may already have those numbers in the United States. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, decisions from Australia, Canada, and the ECB, and expectations from the ECB will be to increase their asset purchases. So the central banks clearly here on a global basis are still very involved. The Fed we get on June 10th. Expectations from the marketplace continue to ask for the Fed to do more here in terms of negative interest rate policy, yield curve control. Personally, we feel like the Fed has done a ton here. They put a ton of programs in place. The balance sheet is up $3 trillion. We've got another $2.5 trillion in lending facilities that are in place that are still yet to get up and running. And then through the CARES Act, the Fed still has the ability to lever up to close to another $2 trillion beyond that. So we think it's a good time for a pause here. There's obviously a lot of uncertainty across the country now, the riots adding to that as we try and reopen this economy. This really couldn't come at a worse time. We need to get our hands around the violence versus the peaceful protests going forward. And then if we look later in the week, obviously in conjunction with this, we get the employment number on Friday. We get another claims number on Thursday. The continuing claims numbers have been coming down. So we think it's important to keep an eye on that going forward here. Let's continue to see progress there as the economy reopens. And then obviously the expectations for the U3 rate on Friday is close to 20%. We've been watching the U6 rate, which is already over 20%. But the key here is that we continue to move things forward. We get our arms around the riots that are happening across the country. We come together as a country to reopen this economy and move things forward here in the weeks ahead. I'm Greg Faranello, and this is Monday Minutes.